Even the moon's frightened of me, frightened to death. The whole world's frightened to death.
See this? This is my boomstick!
I've been home, my friend, for a long time!
What are you, fucking nuts?
Hi, hello, welcome to actually not a main episode of our usual podcast. We're doing a new side series called Honker's Appreciation, where we do these one-on-one interviews from one scare actor to another, where we bring different people in the industry, to kind of talk about their backstories and such. Do their thing, give them the spotlight for a little bit. And today, for our very first guest for this, we're joined by the wonderful Kayla. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Kayla. I go by Jailbait, and yeah.
Before we go in, do you want to give a little bit of backstory?
So my haunt name Jailbait was actually given to me by my boyfriend, who used to work at the Queen Mary Dark Harbor in LA, and I had gone as a guest. And that was how I had met him. And I really, really wanted to take a picture with him. We had already had like an interaction before that. I was really wanting to take a picture with him and some of the other sliders there at the Queen Mary. And one slider, his name is Stranger. He had kind of leaned over to my boyfriend and was like, "Hey, be careful, because I have a very young appearance. I'm 22 and I look like I am probably about 12. So I have a very young appearance, and with the makeup I had done that night, I did not look like my age at all. I was 19 at the time. And Stranger had told my boyfriend, "Hey, like, be careful. You don't want to catch a case," meaning like you don't want to go to jail because she's underage, with my boyfriend being 20 at the time.
Yeah.
And he spun around because they had their backs to me. My boyfriend spun around, pointed at me, and proceeded to yell "Jailbait" over and over and over. It had gotten a crowd. I was actually there with my haunt that I was working for at the time, down in San Diego, and it still is one of my favorite stories, because not only is it one like of how I met my boyfriend, but also, I mean, it's got this meaning that when I tell people, "Hey, my name is Jailbait," people are generally, "What the heck? Why are you saying that?" Because I'm now 22 years old, so people generally will wonder, and of course, then I always have to tell the story, and it's generally a pretty funny story.
Yeah, that's a pretty funny story. But you mentioned that you worked at a haunt in San Diego. Which haunt was that?
So originally, I've been in the haunt community for a very long time.
Me too.
We've had friends work down at the haunted hotel. Like, my first interaction was one of our friends doing my dad's special effects makeup to make him look like he burnt half his body. And that was my first introduction into like haunts, anything spooky, and I was probably about 4 years old at the time.
Oh wow, so that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Ever since then, I've always been, I mean, I watched my first horror movie at like 5 years old. I watched the original Michael Myers movie, the original Halloween, on VHS tape.
Oh, I love that.
But I was working at a haunt called Scream Zone. It was a very small haunt, kind of over where the Del Mar Fair is every year. I don't know if I know they did like a drive-through one this past year, but I actually stopped working for them. And my whole family loves haunt. So me, my dad, my mom, and my brother, we all are haunt sliders thanks to my boyfriend.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah, he taught my whole family. It's great.
Oh,
It's
great.
been something that we were able to bond over. I mean, I still talk to my brother, and we all talk about how much we miss sliding together. But we worked for the haunted hotel. They had actually moved locations to like the Mission Valley area, and they had like a huge open area that.
Oh, um,
Alrighty.
oh, sorry for the awkward cut in. The Discord call that we record on is being kind of weird, so it kind of cut off. So I paused the recording real quick. But if you want, you can retell it. Sorry about that.
Alrighty. So my whole family does haunt, and originally we were working for the Scream Zone, which is like in the Del Mar area, and we ended up. I worked there for 2 years, I believe, and then I worked at the Haunted Hotel once they moved from their original location in downtown San Diego to Mission Valley, and I worked there for a year. And then I actually ended up moving, and now I'm in Ohio, and I worked a year up here at a place called Hammer Brothers.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
So, yep, that's the one. That's the one I was currently working at, and then we have actually talked, and we might actually be looking at possibly trying out for Cedar Point this year.
Oh yeah, you're nearby Cedar Point, huh? I forgot they have a haunt.
Yeah, we're probably about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, it's definitely a drive, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, if anything, if it's like a gas problem, you could probably just rent out a hotel nearby.
Yeah, they have a like almost like a college dorm thing, depending on like how far you live. So they'll actually house you, which is so cool.
Oh, that's really cool. I don't think there's any haunts down here that do that here in the SoCal area.
No, I don't think there is. But I know. I mean, I know
big ones.
Yeah, none of the big ones do. I know that. I know generally it's like a drive. Like the Queen, I know. I know if you wanted to stay on the Queen, you can like rent out a room, which I absolutely loved staying on the Queen Mary. But other than that, I mean, you don't really get to stay somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess before we kind of get into some of we've already gotten some of them out, but tell us a little bit about yourself outside of haunt, a little bit about you.
So, outside of haunt, outside of my monster, I am someone who I actually, like I said, I love Halloween special effects. I love anything horror related. So I work for like a hair company, and I'm actually planning on going to school for cosmetology to be able to do hair, special effects makeup. I own an airbrush and stuff, so I do airbrush makeup, like haunt makeup and stuff like that as well. My life literally revolves around haunt and Halloween. Yep, literally most of my apartment is covered in Halloween memorabilia, horror things. I have just different things that can pertain to haunt or horror or anything spooky related. Even like Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. We have so much in our apartment.
I love that. What's your favorite Halloween movie out of the whole series?
Out of just the Halloween series or like horror movies in a general?
Oh, we'll get into horror movies in a bit, but for now, I guess just the actual Halloween franchise.
So, see, that's hard. I'll probably stick with the OG Halloween because that was, like I said, my very first Halloween movie I ever watched. My very first horror movie I ever watched. It has so much meaning behind it.
Oh yeah, my pick is kind of controversial to some people. My favorite's actually Halloween 3. I talked about it a couple times on their show.
Ooh.
Yeah, Season of the Witch is my favorite.
Yeah, definitely a controversial one because I know a lot of people don't really know much about the franchises. So, or like when you say Halloween, they just think about the first Halloween or like the Rob Zombie one or the newest one. Like a lot of people don't even know that there's multiple Halloween movies.
Yeah, well, like we've talked about, it's kind of a weird situation where, in the sense that it's kind of a portal into what the series would have been if Michael didn't get really popular in the first one, because it was planned to be an anthology franchise, and then Michael became such a big deal that they wanted to,
Yeah.
the studios pretty much wanted them to do more movies with just Michael, so they didn't really know
Yeah.
what to do with this one, so they just kind of pumped it out.
Yeah, I am honestly really excited for the new one coming out.
Yeah, and speaking
Like-
of Halloween 3, it's actually coming to Halloween Horror Nights this year at Universal.
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
wish I wasn't in Ohio.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm down in the California area, so it's kind of I'm in this general haunt scene still, but I haven't really worked any of the big theme park haunts yet. I've only ever worked for the Flesh Yard and Urban Legends, but I'm thinking of working Scary Farm this year since I work at Normal Berry Farm.
Yes, Scary Farm is awesome. We have, between me and my boyfriend, we have quite a few friends that actually work for not Scary Farm, on top of like knowing people like at the different places. Obviously, like the haunt community is so big yet
Oh yeah.
so small at the same time. Like it's been one of my favorite things. That's where most of my like extended family is from. Is most of it is I have like my extended family from the Queen Mary, just because of my boyfriend, and so I have pretty much all the sliders. Like we're all really close. Since we've moved, it's been a bit harder just because time zone is a bit different, so we don't all really get to talk as much anymore.
Yeah.
But when I was living in San Diego, I would talk to everyone all the time. I would take trips up to LA to see my boyfriend every other week. And so I saw almost everyone every other week, and it was awesome. I
That sounds
definitely
great.
miss that.
Yeah. Would you ever plan on coming back down here to visit for the fall season?
We have thought about it, and we don't know yet, but we're definitely thinking about coming down. We're trying to find times just because my boyfriend is currently in school and I'm about to start cosmetology school. So we've kind of got our hands full, but we also we love coming down. And this last year we actually were trying to plan on going to the Queen Mary Dark Harbor and scaring there for a weekend
Oh wow.
during Halloween. But sadly with COVID, we weren't able to fly out and do all that since all the haunts were shut down. Whereas here we had all our haunts open.
Yeah, and sadly, I know for the most part, all the big like Titan haunts are coming back this year. Like Horror Nights is coming back with Beetlejuice and such, and Scary Farm's coming back. But I know, while I do really want it to happen, I hope it does. I know Queen Mary is in a bit of a gray area at the moment because if I remember correctly, the boat, they filed for bankruptcy and they need to, but like the chapter where they need to like auction off the lease. So I'm hoping that
I didn't even know that.
I'm hoping that the new I don't know if that's still like a thing or if they were able to settle, but if they do have to auction it off, I hope that the new investors are still interested in hosting holiday events so we can still keep it. I'm fairly confident in it coming back. I just know that it's the only one out of all the big ones that's a bit of a gray area right now.
Yeah, they've been, I know with talking to some of our other friends, like stuff has been really weird. But like with everything, it's just been a really weird time, especially with everywhere like now starting to lift like the mask mandates, and like people are starting to travel more. It's definitely one of those like gray areas, I think, for everyone, because we're all like, well, what's gonna happen? Like, are we gonna have to wear masks now, or are we not having to wear masks? Because I know even my job, like my regular human job, is like, well, our mask mandate is said to lift on June 2nd, but we really don't know like what our business will end up doing. Just because it's that weird like gray area of like, are they gonna let us wear our mask? Or are they gonna make us? Or are they gonna let us not wear our mask? Or are they gonna make us still wear our mask? 'Cause I know a lot of us here, a lot of places have already stopped requiring masks, which is kind of nice. The only bad thing is with allergy season, all of us are sneezing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
So
don't
it,
know.
it sounds bad.
Yeah, I think it's good that things are flowing back to normal, but I'm probably still gonna be wearing a mask for a while just because I didn't spend a good 50-60 bucks on the universal masks to never touch them again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have some masks. Like I had gotten one just from Spencer's and it says stay positive and it looks like this little boy who's like almost like running away from a shark that's about to eat him. And I was like, I'm probably still gonna wear that. I mean, I paid a good chunk of money for it. I'm still gonna wear it. It's cute. I like it.
Yeah, and just because it was nice that outside of actually catching COVID, I don't think I ever got sick at all outside of that last year. Like I was
Oh,
pretty
you're
healthy the
lucky.
rest of the time.
So we had actually so we actually ended up moving to Ohio only 2 or 3 days um after the Queen Mary Dark Harbor had stopped.
Oh yeah.
So we drove and it takes you like maybe 3 days from California to Ohio. We drove and it was rough. We got here and luckily I was able to get a job pretty quickly while I was out here, but then literally a week or two after, I felt like death had just tried to like come and take me because I felt terrible. And at first we were like, "Oh, it's just the haunt plague." Like it's making its rounds and it made its rounds to us.
Yeah, it
And
always
that's
makes
what
its
I was
rounds.
assuming. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, the haunt plague is terrible.
Yeah. that
I,
and then it's mixed with the post haunt. What do I do with myself now?
exactly. Now and then you're sitting there and you like don't have a voice and you're just like, I don't know what to do right now.
Yeah, no, literally, I'll like always take like a full day or two just in bed once the season's over.
Yeah, with being a slider, like your body just hates you after.
Yeah,
Um, it obviously like the first few days of haunt, you're sore, like you're terrible because your body is like, why are we doing this? And of course, the first few nights of haunt, you're go 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 because you're excited to be back. You're excited to hear people scream. I know for myself, I'm a whole 5 foot tall, so I'm really small, and I've never had people be scared of me. So having people actually like get scared because I'm small and I'm this little thing that is running and sliding across the floor, it makes my whole day. Like I love it. It's the one thing I look forward to and I wouldn't change it for anything. I absolutely love being a slider and being how small that I am.
yeah. I actually just recently learned how to slide it, but I haven't really been able to do it that much in an actual haunt environment yet. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping to bring that. But yeah, it kicks your ass at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know like the Queen Mary, I don't know if they're doing any this year just because since things are kind of up in the air, but I know like the Queen Mary does the slider boot camps and all that.
Yeah.
And those honestly, I didn't even when I went, I wouldn't get treated any different than everyone else, even though I am dating one of the
Yeah.
sliders.
Yeah.
It actually was worse for me. Everyone's always like, "Oh, it must be so nice because they don't pick on you." I'm like, I get like the worst end of the stick because they know I'm not gonna say anything. They know that I don't really care because I know them outside of makeup and they're monsters. Like, I would go to the slider boot camp and I think I only actually went once, sadly, just because I wasn't always able to get up there because it was on like a Thursday night.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I wasn't able to get out there all the time. But the one time or the one or two times I went, like I was so nervous. I felt sick to my stomach. Um, I was so nervous because I didn't want to mess up and then it look bad on my boyfriend. So I was so nervous, but luckily we had our own area down by my house that I was living in San Diego. We had our own area that we would actually go practice and slide. So on like a day all of us didn't work, we would go out, or a day that my boyfriend was down, we would all take our stuff and go out and slide. And it was so much fun. And I know even out here we've found a few spots to go sliding. So we're kind of keeping up with that and trying to see like I'm trying to learn different things. I want to learn how to jump, like over people.
Oh yeah, that I'm still learning because I'm a really big person. I'm like a big weight. I'm like almost six. I'm just about 6'4", so it's hard to
Oh
get
gosh.
that mobility when you're
Yeah.
really big and you're like in the 200s in pounds.
Yeah, it's possible though. I know
Oh yeah, no,
I've
it's very
seen
possible, but
I've
it's
seen our
difficult.
sliders. Yeah, it definitely can be just like more difficult. As someone who's really small, a lot of people I know would think like, "Oh, it's easier." No, I do not have the reach that people have when they're jumping. I am so small.
Yeah, no, usually my kind of like my favorite gimmick, and if I'm in an open area in a haunt, is since I'm such a big person, something that catches people off guard. I'm also very mobile and quick with running and stuff. So when you see this like massive, like big bear of a fucking man just charging at you, I've like traumatized people before.
Oh yeah, those are always my favorite. Is like I've made I've made quite a few people pee themselves.
Oh, I
And then I've
have
also made like
stories.
one or two, yeah, I've made like one or two people actually shit themselves
Yeah,
out of
no,
fear.
I caused a lady to actually like cause a stream of piss just alongside the entire haunt, like the whole maze, and it was so funny. And since it didn't really have a lot of like flooring on some parts, it was just kind of like those like chips and shit. There's no way to clean it up because it was like chips and dirt and
Oh
stuff on most of
gosh.
the floor, so the smell was just kind of there.
Oh, that's always terrible.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, but I mean, it's the culture.
yeah. Oh yeah. Um, when I was working at the Scream Zone, it was when I was first learning how to slide. It was before I had started dating my boyfriend, so I really had no idea what I was doing. And I was kind of put in like a dark hall. So the way I kind of taught myself how to slide, like the first few basics of sliding, I was either in a strobe hallway or I was in a dark, pitch black hallway, which is really difficult to slide in both.
Oh,
Strobes honestly more than being dark because the dark at least you can kind of like see and like distance yourself, but the strobes there's no way of really telling. And so one night I was in the dark hallway and it was me and then my mom actually was in the room. And so I was sliding like I had no steel-toed shoes on. It was literally just knee pads and gloves. And that was all I had. I was like I had my Doc Martens on. So I think this just proves that Doc Martens like are a very well-made boot because my
yeah,
boots are still put together. Like
yeah.
I wore them today to work and they're all fine. Um
This episode is officially sponsored by Doc Martens.
Oh my gosh, I wish. I need more Doc Martens.
Yeah, we
Um
have no sponsors, so I'm sorry to break it.
no, you're good. But yeah, so I was sliding and all of a sudden I like smelled something terrible and I was like, what the heck? And we actually had to like shut our our side of the haunt down because there was like two sides of it. You had like the one that was more like movie based, and then you had the I think we called it like the circus or something like that. I don't remember. It was 3 4 years ago now, so I'm like
Yeah,
but I remember we had to shut it down and turn on the lights and there was like shit just like on the wall because she had slid against the wall and I was just like, oh my
oh my
gosh,
god.
I made someone shit themselves. That's great. um and then I've had people fall to the floor crying. My Before I moved, when I was working for the haunted hotel, um we were outside. It was me, my dad, and my brother, and we were all sliding outside. um we had we had found this one lady, and I think it was only the first or second night in Taunt, but we had found this one lady who was absolutely terrified of clowns. But for some reason, she was just the most terrified of me. I still to this day do not know why.
She has a phobia of
Um,
short people. I don't know how else to describe
Possibly.
it.
Um, but I mean, for one, my character has always been like half pink and half blue just because I mean, I've created like a whole backstory for Jailbait, but that's actually getting scrapped and Jailbait's getting a whole new look a whole new revamped look.
Well, before you scrap
So,
it entirely, would you want to give us the original backstory? It's kind of an
so
insider scoop.
the original is just Jailbait is originally a twin brother and a twin sister who were actually cut in half as a science project and pretty much put together as one. So Jailbait is not female or male. They're both. They are possessed, psychotic children that have broken out and are just ransacking everything. The female side or the little girl side is more of like a kinder, softer side, but the little boy side is definitely like the one who just wants to hurt you, does not care what he has to do, will run through you, will do whatever he has to do to get through you. So my whole outfit was half pink, half blue. I had multiple nights we made it look like my face had been sewn together 2 different ways. So it was really fun, but just since that has been a very overused, especially in the haunt community, I've definitely noticed it's a very used concept to have like the psychotic clown. We're actually making it still a psychotic clown. They are still a psychotic clown, but it is going to be that they actually broke out of a juvenile hall.
Oh wow!
And that they are having to pretty much take over. They are trying to murder Havoc, all of it. Like that's always been like the main thing, of course, is always like wreaking havoc, just making people scream and be terrified for their lives.
Yeah. I think there's so many ways you can do clown stories. The way that I'm still working on a costume, but the way that I've made kind of a bit of a clown character for myself is I actually, a lot more than scare acting, I actually design haunted houses and mazes, and I want to actually
Awesome.
commission them to different home haunts and stuff around the world. But one of them that I'm working on, a kind of family roots. It's a whole story that would that would make this episode really long, but long story short, curse on a house, whole bunch of stuff comes alive, and one of the things that comes alive is this little boy's clown doll. The little kid is kind of like a Sid from Toy Story situation, like he torture and rearrange all the dolls and toys and stuff. And there was one that he pretty much liked to electrocute by like throwing it with like a toaster in the bathtub, like a mischievous little kid. And when that comes alive, it becomes this clown named Static who has a knack for electricity, pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like very like burnt but electrocuted, like kind of like every like it'd be like a striped clown suit, but every single stripe would be like zigzagged and like curved around as shit. So it's like to like show
That's
like
awesome.
like kind of crazy. So like so there's so many different ways that you can make clowns. I don't think there's any that you could say that are like overused because like there's so many, but there's also so little at the same time.
Yeah. The more reason I like wanted to is because like I was about to say, you'll find out when you talk to my boyfriend, that's kind of like his clown, and I looked almost like a carbon copy of him, and I was like, I don't like that. I want to be my own. I want to be myself.
Yeah.
So that was where like I was like, I gotta change this. I was like, as much as I love my original look, I mean, obviously I've put blood, sweat, and tears into it. But as much as I love it, I'm like, I want to be different. I'm one of those people. I love standing out. Even in my like normal day-to-day life, I love to like be the person that kind of like stands out in a crowd. So that's just always how I've been.
Yeah, no, I like when people are like dedicated to their craft or characters. I have a friend who like he wanted to get like he still use like fake blood and stuff for the outfit, but as a bit of a commitment, anytime you get like a bruise or a nosebleed, you pretty much just go, well, gotta add it to the pile, and he just smear it onto the costume. Like actual blood on there. So it was quite literally made of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. Lots of sweat, especially if you're or any haunt actor. You just sweat so much,
Yeah, it
especially in
is
a night.
such a hot job. That's why the best nights to work haunts are when it's like 40 degrees out.
Yeah, unless you're working here, it kind of sucks because
Yeah, well,
at
yeah,
night,
doesn't it snow
in
over there?
October it dips down into like the 30s because it's starting to get into winter, and so you definitely like you'll have your nights where it's kind of nice and warmer, and you're like, oh, it's kind of warm. Okay, we're okay. And then there's other nights like the one night me and my boyfriend worked at Hammer Brothers, it dipped down and it was like 30 degrees. And I was like, I can't feel my toes. I have metal on my toes, and it is
Yeah.
not
Oh,
working
yeah,
out well
no,
for me.
the steel toes are probably a nightmare in the
Yeah.
cold.
Oh yeah, it definitely makes it cold. And then if you hit your toe the wrong way with the steel toe, oh, it was painful. I'm honestly shocked I did not like break a toe or something.
Yeah, no, or like fucking like Jason X where he slams the girl into like the carpet, like the dry ice or whatever, like the carpet, and just smashes her and it just shatters.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. That's literally how it felt. I thought I was going to break, honestly. I was shocked that I made it through the whole night. I know at one point he ended up coming in and he was like, "How are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm cold and there's not enough people walking through for me to keep up my body heat."
Yeah.
I'm great.
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic.
Yep. Can't feel half my body, but we're doing good.
Yeah, I actually don't know how many haunts in San Diego are still going. I know San Diego is about to get a theme park haunt. Actually, they're bringing Howl-O-Scream from Florida over to SeaWorld in San Diego.
Oh yeah, I was hearing about that.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah,
'cause
no,
it
I've been to
definitely-
Howl-O-Scream. It's a lot of fun. I think it'll be a
Yeah.
good addition for here.
Yeah, it's definitely something I've learned is like there's like the big name, like the big name haunts. Obviously, not Scary Farm. Even Disneyland has like a little thing they do, but like the Six Flags, not Sperry Farm, the Queen Mary, like they are the big name. So like I know San Diego does not have many, and when like I wanted to go like to an actual haunt, it was like, all right, we gotta drive like
Yeah.
maybe 2 hours to get to a haunt. It kind of like it sucked, but it was also so worth it.
Yeah, because if it was like something like a Knott's Berry Farm, you can go early in the morning and make a day out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're definitely able to like go. I know I would go up. Obviously, I would go up to the Queen Mary just because we would go see my boyfriend, support him, and just be able to like enjoy being there. But we definitely would like we would kind of like have to like start driving at like 5 to get there by like 6 o'clock, just because it was like, oh, okay, we're gonna probably get stuck in traffic.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So I'm glad that they're getting a big haunt over there, and I know. Is there any big haunts nearby you guys besides Cedar Point, or is that the only one?
I think Cedar Point is the only one. I know we have like Hammer Brothers, which is only like 20-ish minutes away, but it's definitely not as big as like Cedar Point is. And I will say like there wasn't a lot of sliding room, so we didn't get to do much sliding this past year, which kind of sucked. But it wasn't like terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing at the end of the day, but I mean, then again, I'm pretty sure there's haunts like absolutely everywhere. There's at least something.
Oh yeah. With Ohio being like the most haunted state, there are so many different things, whether it's during haunt season or not. I know we've got like the reformatory here, so like they do ghost tours there, and that's something like I would love to go do is to go do one of those like ghost hunts, because I absolutely love anything supernatural. It doesn't matter what, whether I'm like just going to like enjoy like a ghost hunt or going to scare and like be a monster.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
But yeah,
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those other things is like we're really wanting to like go to like we were trying to go what's called Incarceration. It's actually like a tour that they do but they have so many different bands to just like partake, and there's they actually will do like tattoos and stuff there as well. And we sadly weren't able to go because we didn't have the time to buy the tickets, and the tickets sold out so quickly.
Oh man. But yeah. So I guess the next question I want to get into, do you go to any haunt conventions, or is there any conventions in that general area nearby?
So the closest one would probably be Transworld, which I know just passed.
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna try to go this year, but I didn't have the time to make that trip.
Yeah, I was really sad. We were trying to go. Sorry about the barking. My roommate just got home.
No, it's okay.
But we were trying to go this year, but we sadly weren't able to. But we, like I said, we sadly weren't able to, but we would love to go to Transworld. Obviously, we've been to the ones that are in California, like Midsummer Scream. Oh gosh, Midsummer Scream has been the only one I've actually gone to and was able to like dress up and all that.
Oh yeah, I love everybody. I think everybody loves Midsummer Scream.
Oh yeah, I know we were trying to, again, one of those other things that we were trying to go while like right before COVID happened, and then COVID struck and we just weren't able to go anymore, and it was so heartbreaking because I was looking forward to it so much.
Yeah, it's not actually coming back this year, but they're doing a Christmas convention, I think, this year, and then it's coming back officially next year.
Yeah, if anything, depending on where me and my boyfriend are at, we'll probably end up going. Honestly, we've missed it. It gives us like a chance to like see our friends and like be able to go enjoy anything spooky and all that.
Yeah. Hey, you should definitely come down if you can. I'm sure it'll be a really big comeback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really like their Tiki Terror theme they did in 2019. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm honestly looking forward to this upcoming season just because like we have so much that we're already like wanting to do, and we've got like plans already, but we also are like keeping a lot of our plans secret just because we do have like some surprises coming up.
Yeah. That's good. It's good to, kind of keep everything in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we could bring up that I said we'd get back to you later. So we know that your favorite is the original Halloween, but what's your favorite overall horror film, if you had to pick one?
So my favorite overall horror film is Trick or Treat. It's not a very common film that a lot of people really know about.
It's very popular in this podcast. We all love that movie.
I was about to say, I absolutely love Trick or Treat. I have a tattoo actually of Sammy Sucker on my leg.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was actually my very first horror themed tattoo that I got, and it was like my third tattoo, I believe. And since then, it's just kind of progressed, and now I have like a Michael Myers one as well. So I'm slowly but surely tattooing all of my like horror movie favorites onto my body.
Yeah, that's good. I want to do a whole sleeve. I'm debating if I want to do general horror or if I want to do a whole Universal Monster sleeve.
Yeah, I have like quite a few different ones. Like I am doing kind of more of like the overall horror films, like cult classics as well. So even though I know The Crow isn't technically a horror film, I still like put it in there with that because it's such a dark film.
Yeah.
But like that, The Shining, Doctor Sleep, all of those, I look forward to getting all of those tattoos, honestly. I am so stoked for when I'll get to get them.
Yeah, did you ever see the movie for Dr. Sleep? I thought it was really good.
Yes, I felt like it explained a lot of like, because like in the first film, you don't really know what The Shining is, and it's definitely interesting to like learn that The Shining is actually part of him. I was going to say, oops, spoiler alert. Hopefully people have seen the film.
The movie's pretty old, and the book's even longer. So the book's even older.
Yeah.
So we're okay.
Oh yeah. I would love, like, I sadly have not read the Doctor Sleep book or the Shining book, so I have only seen the movies, but I am a huge book fan. Like, I love reading. I'm a bookworm. My boyfriend calls me a nerd all the time.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big bookworm too. I've read both books.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorites growing up. My favorite horror film is actually another anthology that was a big inspiration for Trick or Treat. Mine is Creepshow.
Oh yeah. I actually have not seen any of the Creepshow movies. I want to so bad, but I've been, especially with like having to be an adult, not always having the time to even like watch a movie. It's rough and makes me wish I could go back to being a kid and like watching all of the movies again.
Yeah, I feel that. It's a really good series. I'd say the third movie's kind of not that good, but the first and second one are great. And the first one's iconic, and the second one's good.
Yeah.
But the TV show on Shudder is really good too.
I was about to say, I've seen the TV show on Shudder. I didn't watch it, but I like saw it. It came up on like something like I may like, and I was like, huh.
Yeah, it's a really good show. I recommend it, even if you've never seen the original movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I also wanted to ask, what's your favorite haunt from any kind of demographic? What's your favorite home haunt, favorite pro haunt? You know, just your favorites out of all of them.
So, I was about to say, I might be a little biased, but
That's fine.
So my absolute favorite haunt is the Queen Mary. Like overall haunts, I absolutely love the Queen Mary. Like I said, for me, like when I go to the Queen Mary, whether I'm going there as a guest or I'm going to be a haunt monster, it feels like home, and that's mostly because of the people there. And then on top of that, like I have always like loved the ship, the backstories of the ship. I mean, the ship itself is haunted, and I have had experiences that have definitely thrown me for a loop. It's where I had my first like not spiritual, but like encounter with a spirit, and it was honestly kind of terrifying. Just because I'm raised in a Christian home, so I didn't really get taught anything about like ghost stories or stuff like that. So everything in my head has always been like, oh, stuff like that is fake. Well, then I experienced it and was like, oh, that's not fake.
Yeah, I know there's all kinds of ghost stories, but even the Queen Mary outside of Dark Harbor.
Yeah, like I've went and stayed on the ship. I stayed on the ship one night, and the one night that I stayed, obviously my boyfriend finished up haunt, came up, stayed the night with me, but that night I felt like something was watching me, and I verbally told it to go away because I needed to get some sleep, and it went away, but I did some ghost hunting the next day, got to go to room B340, like I got to... That room puts off a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's infamous enough to get its own haunted house at the event. So.
Exactly. But like I got to go see the swimming pool. For, oh gosh, Jackie is technically her real name. I'm forgetting the name of the little girl that they used.
Scary Mary or Lullaby.
Yeah, Scary Mary. There we go.
And now they found a way to implement like a mock-up of the pool in that haunted house now.
Yeah, that was nuts. Walking through, since it was the first year they did that, and I got to go and like see, it was so cool to like walk through and actually feel like you were under the water of the pool.
Yeah, I like when it does stuff like that. Like I really loved Rogue, honestly. Just because of how much it messed with your head with all the projections and stuff of the waves crashing over. I know it's not nearly the scariest one there, but it's really cool how it's pulled off.
It was definitely really cool to like see it, like, because like I had heard about like how things were kind of being set up, and I tried to get my boyfriend to like tell me what it looked like, but he refused to tell me. And he was like, no, you have to come see it. And I was like, gosh darn it. I was
Yeah, and
like,
what's funny is
well,
nobody's
okay.
been able to find any stock footage of the waves crashing over, so people genuinely believe that it was made just for that haunted house.
Yeah, it definitely like um John, the guy who like actually does all of that, for one, is one of the sweetest guys I've ever
Oh yeah,
met.
no, I love him. That's
Um,
kind of what I'm
like
trying to be like, who I'm looking up to.
yeah,
I want to be like
yeah,
a maze designer like that.
yeah. He is an absolute like sweetheart. But also he just comes up with some of the like greatest things, and like the fact that like David Wally, like how he has put on everything and how long it's been able to go on it's so cool. Especially like with some of our friends who are sliders also, who have been there for the whole time. Like it is so awesome for them to explain like how it was first started, and then like how it's just continuously grown. It's been one of my favorite haunts forever. I was about to say, now if I say like my favorite like smaller haunt, it would definitely be the haunted hotel, just because it was one of my ones. Obviously, walking through the haunts, I don't get scared, just because as a haunt monster, it's very difficult for people to scare me. Um,
Yeah.
so it's
Oh
more
yeah.
of
No,
I
we get
laugh.
very desensitized to it with this line
Oh
of
yeah.
work.
I was about to say, and I've been, like I said, I've been part of the haunt community since I was about 4 years old. So I've
Yeah.
been around it for so long that, I mean, even as a little kid, I would walk through and I'd be smiling the whole way, and people were like, "What is wrong with you, child?"
Yeah, yeah, no,
I just love it. Like,
with
I don't
me,
know.
yeah, with me, I'm such a nut for all the character design and like costume work and everything and all the sets and stuff. The only big like theme park haunt, I guess, or like big haunt that actually gets a good scare out of me, honestly, anymore, is Horror Nights in Florida. Not so much Hollywood's, but their event in Florida is the only one that still gets me really good out of like the boo haunts, like Not Scary Farm and stuff.
Yeah.
It's because they're on a whole different level there.
Oh yeah. I would, since we are kind of closer to that side, I'm almost hoping that me and him will end up being able to like go down and travel to Florida, just since we do have family down there. But going down to Florida and like getting to enjoy those haunts, just because like I personally have never been to Florida ever.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's the 30th
it literally
anniversary
is
this
my
year
dream.
for Horror
Yeah,
Nights 30 this year.
it's my like absolute dream to be able to go to like Disney World, obviously. That's the like little kid side of me, but like being able to go to
Yeah.
like Universal Studios, Florida, I have been wanting to go so bad, and I have obviously never been able to go. Just of course being in California, flights are a lot more expensive if you're flying from one side to the other, but being in Ohio, it's a bit easier to get down there.
Yeah. You should make a trip down there. It's a really nice park.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I know Horror Nights are going extremely strong this year because it's a big anniversary, and then they're also having Beetlejuice, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I absolutely love Beetlejuice. Like, obviously, it's never been one to scare me. I just love how comedic it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's a great movie. But yeah. So looking through. I say before we kind of wrap things up, are there any other personal stories or anything that you want to get into, or any
Um,
other like last side notes?
I was about to say I have some stories just from the Queen Mary of
Oh yeah,
like
go for it.
being
Shoot
picked on.
it.
Like
Go
I
for it.
get, like I
And like,
said, I'd go as like a guest, obviously to like support most of the sliders. Obviously, I didn't really go into many of the mazes. After my one like spirit encounter, I was terrified to actually like go on to like into like feast and stuff, just because like that's kind of where it happened. Like I had my whole like first encounter with a spirit, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't want to go back down there anymore. For one, the
yeah,
spirits down there tend to like not having people down there. I don't blame them. We come into their house and they're like, what are you doing? Get out. Um, but some of the funnier stories I have of like the sliders is one of the times that my parents and I actually went up there to see my boyfriend perform, all that wonderful stuff. I had worn like my Vans, my slip-on Vans. I had worn those, and for obvious reasons, pretty much all the sliders looked at me, and literally I got held by one of our friends. I believe it might have been Torrid, I don't remember. But or I guess now his name is Lone Star, but they held on to me and they took both my shoes.
Oh my god.
And then they proceeded to take my socks.
Oh my god, did you at least get them back?
I did get them back at some point once they started the show, but like I was running around that Slider Alley area trying to grab my shoes back from them, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, you need to put your shoes back on," and I was like, "Well, I can't do that because they have a hold of them. They played football with my shoe." My boyfriend had taken my purse that I had brought with me and pretty much dumped it out into the middle of Slider Alley. So
Oh my god.
everyone saw what was in my purse. Luckily, there was nothing bad, but I was just like, wow,
they shouldn't keep
thanks.
anything special in there.
Yeah, I definitely, like, I get the most picked on, but I'm also, like, the one I would buy them snacks and stuff. Like, I mean, one of the funny stories is, so my boyfriend has a twin it's his haunt twin. Her name is Looney, and she actually,
Looney.
like, yeah, Looney got a hold of my fries, my French fries, my loaded French fries that I had gotten for me and Killis.
Yeah.
And it was drag night, and I was taking pictures for the sliders with one of their makeup artists who also is a drag queen. And I turned around, and Looney is shoveling the French fries into her mouth. And I yelled at her. I was like, "Looney, what are you doing?" And she looks at me real quick and proceeded to, like, shovel the French fries faster into her mouth. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I cannot leave anything alone, like, around you guys, can I? Because I lost funnel cake. I lost popcorn. I think I had, like, maybe 4 or 5 snacks that I got to eat on my own. And then the rest, it was, like, vultures just to me, and I was like, go away. Mine.
Yeah, like way back pre-COVID, I would actually go to a couple of their practices and stuff because I know a couple of them, and I brought like I think 2 or 3 Little Caesars pizzas just kind of for everyone, and I turned back for like 5 seconds. I look back and they're all gone.
Oh yeah, no, that's literally food around the sliders is like it's immediately gone when you set it down. That was always like because I would also go to some of their practices for obvious reasons. I mean, we would all goof off. Another slider. Looney actually taught me how to limbo under the bar, so she taught me my one trick that I know. So thank you, Looney. But she's actually the one that taught me how to like limbo under the bar, and I love her for it because that's me and her got to, as females, as sliders, it's not as common to see female sliders. So to have another female who is a slider and become friends with her, it was awesome. And then also she's my boyfriend's best friend, so us hitting it off makes things 10 times easier. But like we would like eat and stuff, and after our practices we would be like, all right, where do we want to go? Do we want to go to like In-N-Out? Like, where do we want to go? And generally it was either like In-N-Out was the place I always went, but I know they would go to oh gosh, it's not Denny's. I don't remember what it's called.
Usually when I would go, the frequent place ended up becoming In-N-Out after all.
Yeah. We would just go eat food. It didn't matter. Half the time it was McDonald's too. We'd go to McDonald's, grab like a few like chicken nugget things, and like go sit in like the cars or in the tailgate of like my boyfriend's truck, and we would just all chill and relax. Like that is my family. That's my family away from my family, and I absolutely love them. And they definitely like took me in, and like when I had trouble with my own like actual home family, I could always call any of them. I mean, Rampage is like my older brother, and constantly I will forever remember. He's one of the very first letters that I became friends with. And he's also one of the ones that calls me Jailbait more than others. Like, some people will just call me by my name. He will look at me and call me Jailbait, and I don't get a say. And we definitely are waiting to see if I screw up more or if I screw up bad enough, because that's the only way you get your haunt name changed, is if you screw up worse than what you did before, and that's how you get your new name.
Yeah.
And so hopefully I don't, because I'm okay with being Jailbait as long as it means I did not screw up and mess something up. But yeah, they've always been my family. They obviously took me in, helped me learn how to slide and be this little menace that I am now.
Yeah. My haunt name is actually Butcher, that I got from the first home haunt that I worked for.
Alrighty. I was
Yeah.
about to say, I like that though. That's awesome.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed, so it's still pretty much technically Butcher, but now much more in the creative aspect and the scare acting aspect. But I still scare act
Yeah.
sometimes. I'll still go out and
Yeah.
do my thing.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the other things is here. They don't have, something I've noticed is like the haunts don't really have a lot of makeup artists. So especially with being someone who I've kind of self-taught. I'm like a self-taught makeup artist as far as it goes for an airbrush. Literally picked up an airbrush and went, all right, well, let's see how this works. My very first encounter with an airbrush, I turned myself blue and I looked like a Smurf. And I was about to say, even if you asked Killis about it, he'd probably just be like, yep, she looked like a Smurf, and I will never live that down. So I'm surprised they haven't changed my nickname to something along those lines. I'm thankful for it.
Thankfully, they haven't
I'll
they haven't
take,
changed it to
yep,
Smurfette yet.
yep. I'll take Jailbait over Smurfette. But like I've just fallen in love with the SFX makeup, making things look gory and bloody and like they've been tore apart or like your face has been ripped off. I absolutely love stuff like that. And generally a lot of my free time when I am home, and obviously not working, I will play around with makeup a lot of the time. I just have so much fun with it. I want to do more. It's actually like one of my goals to start doing SFX makeup more, just because I know even though it's not really a popular thing outside of like California, but I would honestly like, if I had to have like my dream job, it would be a SFX and makeup artist for movies. That would be my dream job entirely.
Oh, wow. Well, I hope with you taking up cosmetology and such, you might be able to actually achieve that one day.
Yes, I hope so too. I would absolutely love to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something you can achieve for if you work at it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I guess with that, another thing before we wrap up, anything that you want to plug, or anything you want to advertise or anything?
My Instagram is Homicide Queen, and I believe I have to pull it up because I cannot remember my my own Instagram, as funny as it is.
You're all good.
Homicide Queen, and it's homicide.queen. I have that, and then I have a TikTok, which my boyfriend makes fun of me all the time, but it's my one fun thing that I get to do all the time. And my TikTok is Linkbra.
Oh, okay. And if you want, I'll also put them in the description for this video, or for any of the. Yeah, well, we release it as a video, and then also on, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can find stuff. So I'll put it on.
Alrighty.
I'll put them on everything there.
Sounds great.
So yeah, it was fun talking to you. It was fun. Thank you for being the first person for our Haunters Appreciation series.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, of course. It's been a lot of fun. But for now, I think we're going to call it a day. And this episode should be up later today. We always do same day uploads. So.
Alrighty, sounds good.
Yeah, so with that, I guess we'll wrap up for today. So see you guys.
Alright, see ya.